no money, that's an asshole. It wasn't a phase.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Senior Citizen Podcast, and we are here with Matt Miami and Luca Mejia.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for glad to be here.
Yeah. Thank you guys for coming out. You look so much like an old friend of mine that I'm like starting to see it now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's another version of Chestnut. His last name is actually Chestnut.
That is really cool.
Shout out Chestnut, I love you. I don't know if you watched these. We just reconnected a couple months ago, but you know.
Is he related to the great Joey Chestnut?
Maybe.
Oh my
I'll have to ask him.
What a name drop.
Dude.
I get Miles Teller a lot.
Miles Teller, yeah. That's the usual one. Yeah. Oh my god.
Alright guys, I want to hear a little bit because you guys are not artists. We are producers, engineers, managers. So Luca is actually the manager for the Himalayan Salt Band, who was on a couple episodes ago. Love you guys as well, shout out. But yeah, tell me a little bit about how you guys got started in your careers. We can go individually.
Sure.
Who wants to start?
So for anyone that doesn't know who I am on the internet, my name is Luca Mejia. I am a singer. Oh, that camera, excuse me. My name is Luca Mejia. I am a songwriter, producer, and engineer. I've been creating ever since I was young. I was born into music, pretty much. I just recently graduated with my master's degree in entertainment business. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I manage the band known as Himalayan Salt Band. We're a psychedelic jazz fusion group out of Miami. And we'll be coming to a city near you within the local Florida area, whatever you want to say. But yeah, that's the gist, essentially.
Okay.
And you, sir?
My name is Matt Miami, and I've been producing, engineering, and been a instrumental musician since I was 5 years old. Went through quite a bit with Luca. We both were in camp together at Scott Rakow, and then we just connected. And then in high school.
What camp is this? Hold
This
on.
is
so check it
camp
out.
on 20.
This is on 20.
No, it's not. Is it 20?
No, like 40th, 30th.
No, it's right in between. It's on Collins. It's a youth center.
Okay.
And they held a camp there every year, and we met when we were really young.
Yeah.
And we
9
were
years
both
old, maybe. Yeah.
Even younger, and
Yeah.
we connected there. And then in high school, we both went to Miami Beach Senior High, and after me doing my instrument thing for so long, we had this jazz band class, and we both ended up being put in a group together. So that's when we reconnected. We did that together, and then we also did tech work for the Miami Beach Senior High Rock Ensemble.
Shout out. Shout out Sammy. Shout out AJ. Shout out Mac. Oh my god.
I've heard about this rock ensemble with the Himalayan Salt
Love
Band.
y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. Isidro, Mauricio, and Harry were also in there.
Yes.
That's how they all started kind of making music together, and that's how their journey now as a band started. So I've seen them grow from then on, and it's been beautiful, man. There was a weird little gap in time where Matt and I just didn't know that we existed anymore because life happens and you go your different way. I didn't go to a North Miami Beach elementary school or Nautilus or something like that. I was very fortunate to go to private school and all that good stuff, and then I hated it. And then I decided to go to Beach High, and then the rest is history.
We also went to college together.
Yeah, we went to college.
We were in Full Sail together.
Yeah.
Do you want to go in depth about that a little bit?
Dude, that was a time because I went in the middle of COVID, and then I was just kind of in my apartment alone for 6 months because they didn't let you do anything.
Right.
And then as soon as everything started to kind of open up, Matt graduated from high school also, and then he ended up moving up. We ended up getting together with a good group of guys. Storm.
Yeah, shout out to Storm too.
Alejandro, who was supposed to be here, but unfortunately had a session.
AS Audio.
AS Audio. Marquise, shout out Keys. And a couple guys that we would just hang out late night and make a ton of music together. And that ended up culminating into interesting experience for Matt and everybody else that I want him to kind of talk about because I ended up kind of separating myself for a little bit from that. But,
okay.
And wisely so. This is
that
really
was
interesting story.
Yeah.
So as we started to connect, me and Alejandro and Storm, and we started production on our album Euphoria, which Luca was a great, very large part of, especially on the mixing side.
Yeah.
we kind of created a studio inside of someone's house. We had met an engineer who was like, hey, you know, come work with this guy. We went to his house, and he had all this space for us to set up our stuff. And it ended up turning into, we would go there every night, leave our equipment, and we would bring all of our clients there and record them and get stuff done. And we ended up calling it the Temple.
Did someone steal all your shit?
Huh?
Did someone steal all your shit?
No. It's much worse than that. So
oh, wow.
the guy in his house, we were
crazy.
doing this out of.
It burned down.
No. First of all, it wasn't even really a house. Let's begin with that.
Yeah, it was a trailer that was like
It was like a
but it was a big trailer.
It was weird.
Okay.
It was
It was really weird. You know, Orlando, like almost like nice trailer.
Like southeast side of town kind
like
of.
right before you get into like the boonies.
Yeah, like you would see like the old 65-year-old retired people in their like little golf carts.
There was always one guy with a bandana on and like the 3-wheel motorcycle. That's the
Gotcha.
vibe.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
But
That's a good vibe.
the dude who we were working out of was like insane, and he was like immediately like, I'm out, and I was like, all right, but I have a place where I don't get noise complaints now, so I can do my thing.
Dude had a pet lemur.
Yeah, he had a pet lemur named King Julian.
Shout out.
Shout out
As he
King
should.
Julian. We like King Julian.
I hope he's alive.
I think he's fine. King Julian's fine.
There's nothing else you could ever name a pet lemur.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
that is the only
really.
name.
Yeah. I would walk in the house and be like, King Julian! all the time. Well, I mean, not all the time, the 3 times that I went, you know. But
Technically, all the time.
all the time.
Yeah,
all the
every
times
time,
that I went.
100% of the time.
Yeah, 100% of the time I hang out with the lemur.
That's a good ratio. Anyway, so what happened to this
So
equipment?
this guy is like a lunatic, and he's dating this crazy lady, and they were always fighting, and it caused breaks between me and Storm and Ollie. Not really like on a personal level, but just like in terms of like what we were working on and stuff. And it ended up culminating into one night we had to like dip, because this guy was insane. I don't want to like throw anyone out or say anything crazy, but there were like some crazy words thrown around towards us, and we were like, all right, we're out of here. So we packed up all of our stuff into my sedan, and we like got on the highway, and we just had to like run away from the house, because he had been gone, and he was like, oh, take over, hang out. And then we were like, hey, we don't really want to do this much anymore, because we talked about it, and he was just like, oh yeah, I'm coming for you, I know where you're at. Like,
Yeah, he was
and
crazy.
it almost turned into like a full-on chase, and we had to run away to Alejandro's girlfriend's house for like 3 days with like all this equipment. It was gnarly.
And
It was scary.
I had no clue until.
Yeah, we called him, and he's just like, got nothing to do with me, and we were like, glad you're safe.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I mean, I said it from the get-go when I left the last time. I was like, listen, if this goes bad, because I know it's going to go bad, I'm not going to say I told you so. And then...
Did you still say I told you so?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Luca fashion.
Yeah, the guy was allegedly associating himself with people that were... Obviously, he clearly wasn't associated with on a professional basis.
It was like insanity, like the claims he was making. He had some stuff to back it up.
Yeah,
but it was like,
but
it was like
we're talking about stuff from like 30
I have a
years
celebrity in my contacts.
Yeah.
Right.
But like
That
they
you don't
won't pick
really
up the
talk
phone.
to.
It's kind of like when I got listed as a assistant makeup artist on a magazine cover, just because I wanted to see the artist that day.
That's awesome.
I washed the sponge.
I mean,
that's all
okay.
I did.
I mean, shit. You got
I
credit.
mean, didn't Mr. Beast make a hit by just pressing a key with what's his name?
Yeah.
Benny Blanco.
Benny Blanco.
Yeah.
Benny Blanco.
That's an industry thing. That's what
Right?
we do. That's how we get people to
My name's on there. I'm on Paper
There you
Mag.
go.
Paper Mag, maybe. I don't know what it was.
Matt. I mean, I finished my bachelor's degree, and then I ended up coming back to Miami. We all studied audio engineering.
Yeah.
And then I came back to Miami, and I worked at a studio on Miami Beach called Aracran.
Oh, I love Alacran.
Yeah.
That's why you know Esther.
That's
Hi,
why
Esther.
I know
love
Esther.
you.
Shout out Esther. We love you. Isabel, Big Red for giving me the job. Probably the most important professional industry job I've had so far. I've had the privilege of working with everybody, every label. Shout out Alicia Keys. Shout out Swedish House Mafia. I love you. Notice me. Anyway, I had a really great experience. It was really transformative, and then things just kind of happened, and I ended up going back to school, and then that's how the whole Himalayan thing happened, where I just needed an opportunity to put everything that I have been learning into practice. And the band was also in a very weird kind of plateau where they had been performing at the same place for 2 years, and they hadn't put out any new music either. everything that they were performing is pretty much unreleased. So I came into the picture and I wanted to make changes. We put out the single last week, Pepino Fresh.
Shout out, Ollie.
Yeah, and you wanted vocals. You got vocals now. What? But Alejandro also mixed the track, which
goated.
Love you.
One of the
Thank
greatest
you so much.
engineers you'll ever
Honestly, the best engineer up and coming at his age, probably in the East Coast.
Yeah, really. Like,
Probably.
Fair enough.
just an absolute killer, amazing person to be around, good energy,
Right.
Dude, he's
incredible work ethic. Like,
He's so studious. He's incredible, and he works at Mr. 305 Pitbull Studio with Matt.
I work at 305.
So that's why you're
Awesome.
at
Shout
Miami?
out.
That's why he's my
Well,
we gotta go a little bit back.
We'll go back later, but
Yeah.
just
Before we go back, hold on. I want to touch on what, Luca, you're doing with the Himalayan Salt Band, because
Sure.
I think that's important to address in this podcast, since we do love and care and support our local scene as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And what you found them at is probably the situation in one way or another for a lot of other local bands in this scene. And from someone who has a master's degree in this, what advice could you give to some of the other people in this scene to get them out of playing tough times, every weekend, or nothing? No hate to tough times. I love you tough times.
Do you want to talk about the situation you picked them up in, in more depth? Because it's not like they were not making music or anything. There's just different scenarios.
Yeah.
So what tips can you just give in general for these bands to really push themselves, or to maybe change their focus to break through, or get that little breakthrough they need?
I think the most important thing that people need to understand is that there are layers between being a musician and being an artist, and all of those things culminate into building a brand identity, making content for yourself, making the songs, doing the bookings, establishing yourself as a business, making your own contracts. Being friends with a lawyer actually is really, really helpful. I would recommend, if you find an entertainment lawyer, literally have them on speed dial, ask them stupid questions, because there are so many people within this industry and that I have already encountered within the past 6 or 7 months that are just kind of shady, and if you don't put things on paper, then they'll just do things the way that they want to do things, and they end up screwing you over. A good example is at a show that you happen to go to, actually, of ours.
Is this the one?
The show.
Oh, Lord.
I've only been to one show, so I know
Every
what
show
show
is
it is.
awesome, by the way.
Right.
We love Himalayan Salt. We love the venue as well.
It was a beautiful venue, great show.
Great venue.
Loved it. It was
Yeah.
also like Friday and I was exhausted, but
Yeah. Great venue. Don't play there.
okay.
That's my only thing. There are a lot of great ongnership groups within Miami that have venues that I would personally recommend over that particular example. Zay, unbelievable venue. Jazz Kitchen that opened up. Shout out Severina. Hi. There's a lot of different venues that you can go to, and now that unfortunately we've lost some iconic ones. Las Rosas was a massive loss. Churchill's was a huge one.
Yeah, that place was legendary.
Iconic places that people loved playing at. So many different bands came up in that. There now is a space that needs to be filled. I think it's important that there is a good group of people that come up and start putting venues out there.
Yes.
Because there is an oversaturation of many different bands and artists within almost every scene in any popular city. I'm talking about Miami, New York, Nashville, LA. There are artists everywhere. So having venues that are open to having, I guess in a sense, in terms of notoriety, low tier acts is massive, because there needs to be exposure for great art. In terms of being an artist within the scene right now, it's the most important thing for me is knowing that you are not going to be making sustainable income for a long time. and I don't mean you might get a couple $1,000s in royalties from sync or whatever and whatever project you end up doing, but I'm talking about money that if you're in a band and you've got 5 people, that everybody can live off of, because that is a luxury that unfortunately a lot of people don't have.
And I think that's a dream for a lot of the people that are in these bands, for sure.
Yeah.
That's an ultimate goal, but it's more of the steps on okay, how do we even start, making a little bit more income than just playing a show that's as someone just said here, a couple hours ago, I make, $50 a show.
Yeah. I think.
And then have to divide it amongst
everybody.
Yeah, so you all walk out with $10 and
that's how it is.
Maybe broke even from the drink you bought at the bar,
I think that all comes from, one, the first step that you have to go into is acknowledging that everybody that's involved is willing to take the project seriously. Because if everyone's not all in, if everyone's not willing to commit, if everyone's not willing to do the extra steps, if everyone's not willing to create for the band, then there is no point of having that individual within the project. That is the first step. The second thing, when it comes to actually establishing making money within a local sense, you kind of have to figure out how to price yourself. That's a massive thing.
That's a hard part. That's
a
really hard thing.
You kind of have to. I would recommend that if you're really trying to, or if you're kind of like an artist manager kind of thing where you don't really have management and you're just kind of doing the management stuff, just go to shows and ask a ton of questions. There are promoters there are booking agents there. Ask the band members in terms of like how they're pricing things. How they price tickets is also a huge thing. Mm-hmm. That is something that with the band that I'm managing right now, in particular Himalayan Salt Band, that is something that we struggled with at the show that you went with, where we tried to up the price a little bit and we felt the consequences of that as a result. On top of just overall geological location of the place, availability and parking, and
we
on a
had
Friday
the same
night.
exact issues with both of our shows.
Yeah.
I threw a show too. It was you're saying it, and I was like, yeah, same.
Wynwood in general is just a very
there's no parking.
Yeah, it's a difficult place to throw a show because there's no parking, and then you don't think about the person that has to take a $40 Uber from XYZ place and then take another one back, and then on top of buying drinks, and then on top of buying the entry fee, and then on top of buying the merchandise. No one's gonna want to pay that.
Yeah.
At least for an act that is at a local level.
Yes.
Right. We're not talking about going to the Kaseya Center and seeing Drake.
Right.
And pick up your friends. If you're
absolutely.
going to local shows, like really, I see so many people, like this happens all the time, and like, even when Himalayan Salt, or like when at the event the other day, it's like, people will be like, oh, I don't have a ride there, and it's like, I know someone who lives right next to you, and they're literally coming. Why are you guys not in touch to do this and come support?
Right. You should carpool anyway, save the planet. What the hell?
Save the planet, yeah. Like,
just kill the turtles.
Nah, we don't need everyone to pull up in like an F500 with no
Not the
exhaust,
turtles!
Yeah, shout out the turtles. We
Shout
love
out the
turtles.
turtles. We love the turtles.
Okay.
But so, another thing is, like I said, establishing a business and having everything on paper.
Okay.
Everything on paper. I've been making contracts with a band since we started, essentially. Pretty much after that show is when I started making contracts, because there were certain moments throughout the evening that I did not particularly enjoy.
Right.
One in particular was that one of the managers of the venue kicked out one of our guitar players because he doesn't wear shoes. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. And
wow, that's very, very particular.
Yeah, so I was sitting there like, how is this even happening right now?
And from personal experience, I know that the people who don't wear shoes are probably like the best guitar players.
Oh my gosh!
No, and I found, oh my god, I
If
think
you haven't heard Himalayan Salt Band, like you'll know the second that you like listen who we're talking about, and just
Aiden.
He's a whole.
Aiden is an incredibly trained contemporary jazz musician.
Just an absolute prodigy.
Absolute musical prodigy, one of the greatest guitar players I've ever seen with my own eyes. But he doesn't wear shoes, so they ended up kicking him out.
They affect the performance.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
I was
Foot
just
prisons.
and I was just saying.
Literally, yeah.
The early emo bands, like they wore such tight pants because if you don't do that, then you don't get the vocals right.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't come out the same.
Yeah, you gotta give me a tight over there.
Fuck. No, I can't do that. Sorry.
But I think we'll take that advice. Everything on paper.
Everything on paper.
Pricing. Ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. Be aware of also your audience, absolutely, and kind of their economic standing and also their geographics in general, because like I was saying, Wynwood is a very hard place to throw a successful show.
Yes.
Not necessarily to throw a show, but a successful show. And success can mean either like filling the house or maybe even breaking even. Something, whatever your KPI for success is for that night, as long as you can hit that, then great. But, Gramps, that venue, anything of that nature, it's hard.
It's hard.
I can imagine. And where did you put your event out?
My event was at Hodler Gallery. Shout out Hodler Gallery. Love you guys. It was an amazing venue. It was an amazing event. It was just not the turnout I wanted.
Yeah.
From all the work that was put into it.
Yeah.
But the event itself, gorgeous. If you didn't come, you missed out.
Yeah.
But Wynwood is hard.
Yeah.
Even the parking for myself, I was like, I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't come out here on a Saturday night. Why would I throw a show here?
Yeah, no,
you
it's
know?
impossible.
Yeah. We did great in the sense that, and unfortunately, like I was so excited for you to see it. The place was full for the band. It was packed.
Yeah.
But we went negative that night.
Yep.
Because sure, like the place was full and it was nice, but not enough people showed up to where it would have made a difference, on top of paying for security, on top of the marketing campaign for the show, and then you put everything into account, and that's another thing. Marketing, please study marketing, because you have to do things in advance if you want people to actually show up to your things. What we do at any venue that we end up going to, we do signature cocktails. So not only does it attract the local people that are going to see, like, oh, they got this cocktail going on at this place that I like going to, it also gives us a little bit of a brand identity, because we are someone that we like to party and we like our tequila. But
True.
But having things planned out 2 weeks in advance, having money to the side for ad campaigns, don't do go for a specific demographic. Don't do the 16-year-old to the 90-year-olds. Like, really focus on who you want to target, because then you get to build that little bit of community. There are certain levels of fan that you're going to be encountering within any career that you establish. There's the casual fan, the person that kind of listens to your music but doesn't really do anything, and then we got the super fans that buy all the merch, go to every concert, this, that, whatever. We had, for a long time, 2 girls that came from Fort Lauderdale to every show. Every show. If you can get 20 of those, 50 of those.
Oh, you're set.
Yeah, you're good.
We're so fucking back.
So back, baby.
Well, the other thing is, like, people like now, or when we say marketing, or when you say marketing, at least people misunderstand that. Like, when you say marketing, it's not just like, oh, get on Instagram and make a video.
No,
yeah, like
it's
2
not
weeks
that.
in advance. Like,
it's not that.
say you're gonna do a shirt giveaway. Like, people really have a misunderstanding of this.
So I studied communications and marketing, and I don't want to feel like I'm back in school, so I'm not going to talk about it any
Don't.
further.
It's okay.
But
It's okay.
We can avoid marketing.
there is a
altogether.
lot that goes into marketing, and it's not just putting stuff out there into the air for the universe to see. You do have to run ad campaigns and this and that and whatever. And if any band needs help with that, I am more than happy to give you some advice.
I'm also more than happy to give advice about anything digital marketing related. It is something that I studied heavily. Shout out to the course director of digital marketing at Full Sail, Dr. Dan Spellman. I love you.
I had some Dan professors too, and they were the best.
Dan, if you're watching this, you were so great.
My dad's name is Dan, but he's not a professor. But shout out my dad.
Shout out Dad. Shout out my dad.
Oh, and also
too.
not a
Shout out
professor.
Shout out my
Not a
dad.
professor, but Dan Day, I still miss you. You're still a homie.
Shout out my dad.
I want to know about Matt Miami and where this name came from before we jump into the relationship advice.
Oh, we're already there.
Where Matt Miami came from?
Yeah.
I don't even know that story.
So Matt Miami was a really long story. When I was younger, my father used to give me a lot of different nicknames, and my family used to give me like
a
weird
young
nicknames.
boy, my father.
Took me into the city.
But yeah, he's like, oh, we were watching Fairly Odd Parents, and Adam West plays Catman, and it started off as he called me Catman when I was younger, and from Catman I lost my username, and I was playing Minecraft, and I needed to make a new account, and I was like, where am I from? What's my name? And Matt Miami. Like, literally, that was it. It was. I wanted to get Matthew Plays MC. And then I couldn't get it, and I was like, all right, I guess Matt Miami. And then ever since, it's been Matt Miami, except for my friends at 305 who want me to do Moonshine Matt, which is not happening.
Moonshine Matt.
Yeah, Moonshine
Please.
Matt.
Please.
It might pop up at some point. I don't know.
Dude, hold on. Your name came from you playing Minecraft.
Yes, it did. It did.
So, backtrack even more. The only thing I ever got out of the Fairly Odd Parents was Icky Vicky, which made me cry in the third
Oh my
grade.
gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, Chip Skylark, the GOAT.
I'm so sorry.
If there's one person.
His smile is so pretty.
Chip Skylark was
I couldn't happen to just sing along. I'm sorry. It was a very integral part of my childhood.
Yeah. Shout out Fairly Odd Parents, dude.
Yeah, man.
It was a great show, honestly.
Old Nick was great.
Old Nick was great. Cartoon Network was great too.
Just like amazing stuff.
And I just can't get over the irony that it's Matt Miami and now you work at Pitbull Studio.
It's not even that I've worked at so many studios like before this, and shout out to Master House Studios, which is actually not far from here. And the Jacombo team, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair, I wouldn't have connected with this guy. I wouldn't be anywhere near what I'm doing if it weren't for Walter Jones and Richard and Hannibal and all the guys who work there, and Denise, who has done a lot of work for them as well. It's just like, you know, there's a lot of people out here, you know, in the scene, especially
massive community that's
massive community for like studio people that just really do support the younger generation, and I think that's something that people don't realize. You know, if you're one of these younger bands, like you don't need to go to book a studio time 100%. Like go communicate with your engineer. Go communicate with people who own studios.
Go to beat battles.
Go to beat battles,
bro. We went to the
beat
greatest.
Battles?
Yes.
Like the Red Bull one that happened a little bit ago? That's not a beat battle. That was a rap battle.
That was a rap battle.
Yeah.
We went to a beat battle yesterday? Day before yesterday?
It was today? Sunday? It was Friday.
Friday. Went to a beat battle Friday. Shout out to the Omni Collective.
Yes.
Shout out Rock Chamberlain and Dexter from Liquid Dinosaurs.
Oh, shout out Pantheon World.
Shout out Pantheon World. All the producers that were there. Jordi Alta.
Yeah, congratulations.
Majin, all of them really great. There is a growing community. Fritz, Dan, I can make so many different people that were involved. Johan, there's a growing exposure of producers and engineers within this community that is massively essential, because a lot of, I think in general, just producers and engineers don't get talked about as much as the artists, because obviously, you know, you got the spotlight over your head when you're an artist, and that is something that I have seen because I have worn all three hats. So I think producers, and this is something that everybody talked about that day, producers getting out of the bedroom and exposing themselves and building their own identity through their own music and through whatever they want to do and how they want to express themselves online is huge, because we need great producers. We need great people, great musicians that know how to make great music and bring out the best of artists that don't really understand how to do that themselves.
Right.
And Miami is such a diverse city. You have reggaeton music, you have funk music, you have dance music, you have hip hop, you have trap, you have alternative music, heavy music, emo music. You have so much in Miami now, especially after COVID, that everybody moved from LA, everybody moved from New York, everybody moved from Atlanta. This is a massive industry city now, and it's kind of interesting that that's not talked about as much as it should be, because it is growing exponentially, and it's exciting.
Huge artist group down here.
Yeah.
There is so much art
and
all around.
local artists should be connecting more with these people, because I'm telling you, like, a lot of these bands are like, oh, we don't have money to go to Ford Studio. I know like 50 people who could record you at home, and they do it for free. I
know studios that'll rent you places for free because they just know who I am. You know what I mean?
It's like you got to. That's another thing to go back on what he was talking about being successful as a band, is to make those connections. You know, you want to meet managers, you want to, you know, meet venue owners, but also like, that's just like 50% of it. Not even. You have to be in the studio recording and releasing tracks. You have to be actively involved in other people's worlds and understand, oh, you need to know tour people. You need to know people who can do live engineering work.
Creative directors.
Yeah.
Those are huge now.
I mean, it's just even everything down to like, you know, makeup stuff, you know, the way you're going to appear, your clothing, your apparel. Yeah. It's like, it's so much, everyone's just so stuck on the idea of we need more people at our shows, we need more people
and
at our shows.
everybody wants to help you out.
Yeah, everyone's
it's
here.
Not like, it's not like we're just sitting in our little golden thrones and we're like, I'm better than you. I have no on my resume.
And I think that's the one thing I've really loved about the scene, is that everybody is so willing to just help each other out.
Absolutely.
Like, it is a gorgeous thing to feel that amount of support, and people just, even this podcast, like, the amount of people that I've just been following, I'm happy that when people want to come on and it's like, you guys aren't in a band, but whatever, like, and I genuinely have to say this is probably the most informative episode we've had until now for those people that do come on to the podcast. Sure. So I want to thank you guys for coming, like 100%. It's, and you know, if anybody needs a producer or help or advice or somebody to give them a hand, these are your guys.
Reach out, seriously. We don't bite, and honestly, I know it makes my day when people come to me and ask me questions. Like and
it doesn't like take anything away from you. Like, just to answer a message, it's like, hey, dude, you should do this, or hey, just talk to this person or something. You know?
Yeah, people like think it's like gatekeeping to like keep away like actual knowledge, just like stuff like how to like opt Pro Tools.
They're gonna find it eventually.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not gatekeeping.
And there's so many resources to figure out so many different ways to do everything, from production to engineering to marketing to to brand identity to booking shows. There are hundreds of Instagram accounts that make daily content. There's YouTube channels that make everything.
Everything's online.
Everything's online.
So no excuses.
No excuses anymore.
Literally. Like, we live in the age of information. You should not know how to do anything that you want to do. Like, learn everything.
And build your own professional community that you can trust with your vision and how you want to execute the creative experience of people listening to your stuff. And put out music. Just don't sit on a hard drive of like 400 songs, because I've done it. I haven't put out things in 4 years, and I'm frustrated.
But
I need it
soon.
But soon, next year, I'm putting out music, baby. Woo!
I should expect to see some stuff. Well, I mean, me and this young man,
Matt and
also
myself.
possibly.
Matt and Himalayan.
Yeah, maybe that as well.
Okay.
Yes,
So
Himalayan.
shout out again to that beat competition, because if it weren't for the confidence that instilled in me, I don't think that would have been happening.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What else?
That would have been a beautiful end to the episode, but I have a relationship post.
Let's go. Let's go.
So, my female 21 boyfriend, male 23, got Discord to use while playing an online game. He knows that I feel uncomfortable with him using Discord since my ex used it to cheat on me, and a few months ago I found my boyfriend secretly messaging other girls, including an ex that I didn't know about. He has not been very reassuring, although I know he loves me.
I'll let you go first.
Girl, leave.
I still don't have the dump his ass button, but it will be here soon.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that, but he is clearly holding on to something that you don't really know about, and it doesn't really sound like you really know your boyfriend, which kind of goes to show a lot about kind of how the communication dynamic has been going, which seemed to be a little bit unhealthy. Also considering that you have previous trauma on the platform that he's using, that also doesn't really help, I'm assuming. So kind of get out, have him work on himself. You got to work on yourself too, girl. Go to therapy. I mean, unfortunately, we live in a capitalist society, and everything healthcare related is expensive. But if you can find a free platform, if you can't afford it, there's hundreds out there. There are definitely, and your family, people that might be willing to help you talk about stuff that you've been through. There are people that are there for you and love you. I'll talk to you. Go get it, girl.
No.
Be your best version.
Yeah, no, definitely. Shoot. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If there's any I don't know why people can't communicate with each other, get into relationships. I don't get it at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, me and Luca both are kind of the same with that, because we talk about it a lot. We're very close, so we keep it very honest with each other. And I'll tell them if something happens between me and the person.
Even your friends, yeah. You have to be
upfront. That's how I get it off my chest. Is I go to this girl isn't communicating with me, or this woman is not communicating with me properly, and it makes me feel uncomfortable about the fact that I don't know if she's actually willing to put in the effort to make a real relationship. And when people aren't 100% truthful or honest, or give you not 100% of everything, you don't want to take over someone's life, but
oh, you do, absolutely. I am.
Not me, at least, not me. You don't want to be in my life. Women do not want to be in my life. Too wild. But no, it's if you can't really trust someone enough, and you find things that make you not want to trust them, if you can't sit down and be like, hey, can you explain this to me? And then be like, oh yeah, no, I go to tutoring with this person. Oh, we were in college together and we're just messaging back and forth old stuff.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you communicate, but if they're I think it kind of speaks for itself, at least to me. But stay informed and make your decision that matches you best.
Yeah. Basic communication.
Yeah.
I'm toxic. I 100%
I don't understand why people can't
him
talk
over
to
there.
people anymore. It's just kind of strange.
Right.
I think these have really not helped us out in that regard. So get off your phones, go touch some grass, and learn how to talk to each other, because we're all great people. Well, some of us. That's it. Just work on yourself. Work on yourself, girl. Get off Discord.
Yeah, get off Discord.
Avoid it like the plague. Yeah. Thank you.
Seriously, Discord is whack.
We love you.
Alright, guys.
We love you though. No offense.
Thank you for the advice. It's your shameless plug moment. We've been shouting out people throughout the whole interview, but right now this is a shameless plug moment.
All right.
You go first.
Go ahead and let that camera know everything you need them to know about yourselves before you shout out other people.
Sure. Himalayan Salt Band is doing shows everywhere. We got a show coming up on the 19th of November in Orlando at Will's Pub. We are working on an album currently, which is going to be really exciting. Hopefully it comes out next year. I myself am working on my own music and my own projects, which will also hopefully come out next year. I'm really excited about that. My handle on Instagram is Luca Enrique Mejia. That's Luca Enrique Mejia. Like, if you're not Latin, you can figure it out. And if you have anything that you want to talk to me about when it comes to artist management at the local level, production, songwriting, mixing. Well, mixing, I would actually say talk to Alejandro actually at AS Audio on Instagram about anything mixing related. Tell him that Luca sent you. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm up to. Shout out Alejandro, shout out Mindful Music Lab and Brittany Burger, shout out Alejandro, shout out my dad, I love you, he's probably watching this. And that's it for me, pretty much. Matt?
You guys can find me on Instagram at MATT__Miami.
Two underscores.
Yeah,
two underscores. Really
that's very important.
Because
very
the
important.
first one was hacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess shout out to the dudes who threw that beat battle the other day, you know?
Yeah.
Shout out to Omni Homies for real. Shout out to Liquid
Omni
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, Rock Chamberlain and Dexter.
Rock Chamberlain and Dexter. Shout out to all the professors at Full Sail who, you know, stood up and
oh my God.
really helped us out because
Meredith, Juan, Marcos, Joseph, the lab instructor legend. Chris Domingo.
Oh yeah. Monique, who actually got me to understand contract work. Absolutely legendary.
She's the reason why I write my contracts the way I write my contracts.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
And I guess just big love to our scene. And
yeah,
you know, if you guys
big love to all the homies that have helped us along the way.
Everyone, really. Yeah. Like, we have no negative things.
So many people that have helped us get to where we are.
If anyone ever needs advice on like Ableton or Pro Tools or like weird stuff, I do all that.
Yeah, we get so weird. We're nerds, dude.
Shout out Protractor. Shout out Protractor making a comeback.
Yo, this guy is crazy with Protractor.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. You guys heard it. If you need any help with anything, Luca and Matt are more than happy to help you guys. To continue supporting our podcast, please subscribe and follow us and just interact and engage. And we will see you in another episode of the Senior Citizen Podcast next week.
Work on yourself, go to therapy.
Yeah, for real.